Say a little bit about shared writing. Shared writing is a skill that we can develop over the years. It's important for us to make sure that we do read the class novel. And one reason why is if you're reading class novels to the children, you're constantly hearing those tunes and rhythms and patterns, and that will actually help you. It will give you ideas in terms of written style, but also imaginative ideas for the shared writing. Now, if you've boxed up and got a reasonable plan, then it should be relatively straightforward. If you're inexperienced at doing it, practice at home. Very often, if I'm doing shared writing, I'll sit at home, or given the role that I do, I'll sit in a hotel room somewhere and I'll write a paragraph out. And I might have one or two teaching points within things I want to emphasize within that paragraph. But if you've got the boxing up and you've got your toolkit, then that will guide you. Those are the things that you're going to be focusing on in the shared writing. You know where the children are, so in terms of engaging them, you know where to pitch your questions, who to challenge, who to scaffold, etc. My handwriting, years ago I used to be able to do neat Nelson handwriting, and there was even one point when I was rather good at doing italic writing. It's now pretty shameful, I'm afraid to say. If I was working in a school, I'd really have to work on that aspect, because we do need to be modelling the handwriting policy of the school, and I'm very aware of that with my own writing. So that's an aspect I need to be working on. So we need to get into the habit of doing our shared writing. It does help if you've thought through, where does this paragraph begin, where does it end, and what couple of things are going to happen in the middle. The more experience you get, the more interactive it becomes. In other words, you pretty much know what's going to happen, but you're getting their ideas and using their ideas. Early on, you'll probably have planned it out, thought about it, and it's probably a bit more yours, but gradually you'll get the skill of involving them. And try and enjoy it. I love doing shared writing. If you get a bit stuck, one tip is to say, not sure about this, we're getting a bit stuck, let's press on with this bit and we can come back to it later on. So there's no harm in doing that, and you're probably modelling to them something that's quite useful. Train them so that if you make a mistake, they will spot it for you, or if there's a weakness, they will spot it for you. Get into that habit of rereading it. Keep rereading all the time as you go along. So thinking of a sentence, writing it down, rereading it. So the first sentence flows into the second, which flows into the third, flows into the fourth. So keep rereading it as you're doing it. Good writers are constantly rereading. In fact, you can be editing on the hoof. Very often I notice things, mistakes sometimes, but also weaknesses, repetitions, as I'm doing the shared writing. Some people think a lot in their head and edit before they write it down. Others, probably I'm one of these, edit as I'm going along. Some people like to write it out and then go back and edit. So we have slightly different habits. But the shared writing is a skill to develop and to grow. Luckily, you're with 30 children. My experience is there's always somebody who's got an idea. If you get stuck or nobody knows what to do, pause and say, in your pairs, discuss this, and that gives you a breathing space. They will inevitably come up with some ideas for what next. So that's a little bit on shared. Guided writing is where you pull together a group of children who perhaps from your assessment all have some sort of common need or need a common challenge, and you're going to be scaffolding or challenging with that particular group. And it may be a group of 5 or 6. But I can remember on many occasions keeping half the class on the carpet and sending the others off to get on with it, because for 5 minutes or so I wanted to go over something with half the class. So it's not a fixed routine in terms of when we get good at guided work, it's done on the basis of need. Sometimes you might think to yourself, right, I want everybody's heads down and I'm just going to go around the room. Sometimes you might think, I just want to sit with those 2 kids for 3 minutes and do some work with them. Sometimes it's a group, sometimes it's half a class on the carpet, all sorts of possibilities. I saw one teacher a few years ago and done some very good shared writing, and then said, who's confident and wants to get on? Quite a lot of them went off and got on, the rest stayed on the carpet, and just for about 5 minutes the teacher went over the work. Interestingly, quite a lot of the higher attainers stayed on the carpet because they are perfectionists. They want to be absolutely sure they've got it, and then off they went. So all sorts of possibilities there, but it is driven on the basis of our assessment. That's the point of the guided work.